Let me start off by saying I am truly honored to be here. Thank you for inviting me. When I got this invitation, on a daily basis, my job is very stressful. I am the youngest senior corporate director at Microsoft Middle East Africa, but this one especially sort of increased my stress level really high. Because as I was thinking, how exciting is it for these guys to graduate at this time? I won't mention Brexit. I won't mention the looming presidency of Donald Trump and what that means for world order. But I really wanted to just take a few minutes and just connect with you and just share a little bit of my own professional journey, pearls of wisdom that I've picked up along the way, and lessons. I think your chancellor has a great sense of humor, and I just pick up on a few things that he said. One is, I was born in Ethiopia. I was born and raised in Addis Ababa. I did most of my education in the US. And I don't know how many of you know, but Ethiopia is not the most of the wealthiest nations. We are known for hunger, famine, poverty. So growing up, I was always fascinated by the idea of what does development really mean? How do we as Africans take on the responsibility to change our narrative, to change the destiny of us, our people, and what we do to change that journey? So I started off my career in microfinance and then went on to the World Bank, the World Economic Forum, and just a plethora of sort of different experiences. But today I think I'll share with you one particular example given all the topics that have been covered. In 2007, I was working with the Global Hunger Project in New York, based in New York, but covering 8 countries doing microfinance. Now, how many of you are familiar with microfinance and group lending models? By show of hands. I'm worried because none of you know about this. Yeah. So just a little bit of background. So microfinance essentially is a group lending model, right? Whereby a small group of people come together, you take loans together, and then you repay it together. And essentially it allows you to create small activities of business, entrepreneurship, whether you're in farming or animal husbandry, whatever it may be. So in 2007, I was doing a country visit in Ghana, and I was in northern Ghana, and I was visiting this one particular community. And for the longest time, they've had a fantastic repayment rate, as in this was the group, now we're talking about the financial crisis. I mean, these guys would put to shame any bank that was operating in the West. But they were phenomenal. They paid on time, they collected on time, they grew their businesses, they changed their communities, the kids were being sent to school, except for this one group that always had a problem, and they always had late payment. And it wasn't because they weren't engaged in business activities. No, they were. So as I went and did my visit, I sat down with them and just had a conversation. And I said, what exactly is the problem with this particular group and the way that you're working? And they said, actually, we had a problem with one person. They said, well, what's the problem? They said, well, it's a group of 6 people, and one particular group member, and we'll call her group member 6, never repaid her loan. So she would come collect the money, but never show up for the repayment. So the rest 5 of the team members had to scramble to pay her loan. So essentially, not only are they paying theirs, but they're also now dipping into their little saving and repaying it for her. So they did that for a few times, and eventually they came up with a solution. And this was a solution. They came a day earlier than the day that they were supposed to reimburse the money. And they came up together, collectively paid for all 6. When the next day came around and they were getting ready to get their next loan, they told her, unfortunately, you, group member 6, are no longer part of this group. And she said, but why? I don't understand. What happened? And she said, well, actually, the community and the agency, this NGO, has now put together a computer. And all our names now have to go through this one computer. And the computer single-handedly decides who gets a loan and who doesn't, and essentially just spits out names, right? And so the names that come out are those who are going to get the loan. And they told her, sorry, unfortunately, you are no longer part of it. So I'm sitting here thinking, Africans are strong. I mean, we confront, we discuss, we fight. And I said, why didn't you confront her? Why didn't you just tell her that she was no longer being a responsible group member and that she was not taking up her duties? And they said, but no, madam, we couldn't do it. And I said, but why? Well, what's the problem? They said, she, group member 6, is actually the wife of the village chief. So we cannot, within a cultural context, actually confront her. We could not tell her what is it that she can and can't do. So the only way we could do it is create a computer that was making the decisions and for us to move on with our lives without anybody being impacted by this. And I was dumbfounded. I loved it. I loved their wits, I loved their smarts, and I loved the innovation. Because I guarantee you, in this community we were working in, there were no computers. There were no shells of computers, let alone computers. We barely had electricity going to them. So then I wondered, if imaginary computers can actually sort of help change what could be, what if we actually really invested in making it a reality? So what would technology really mean for a community like that? What would it mean for people to be connected, to have access to information, to have access to knowledge and skills? And how would we, as Africans, benefit from that? So I was very lucky, and I think I was very fortunate to come to Microsoft, where the mission and the investment of the company was very much geared towards that. So I work with a very small group of dedicated people. My team is focused on driving innovation. What do we need to do to drive innovation? You're going into the workforce, I think as of Monday, into a world where Bitcoin and blockchain is essentially changing the way we transact in our communities, where the largest media company today in the world is a search engine, where artificial intelligence and machine learning and everything that comes with it is essentially changing the way we work. New business models. You have Airbnb that is disrupting the hotel industry. You have the largest transportation company in the world that owns 0 cars. So the world that you're walking into today has changed significantly, dramatically. But it's even more exciting to go into that world than the world that I went into. So as you think of sort of what is the next step for you as in your career, I'll just wrap up my discussions by sharing a few pearls of wisdom that I've picked up along the way. And here they are. Number 1, be more confident than you should be. You will find yourselves in jobs, roles, situations where you will not know everything. That's okay. Fake it until you make it. Have the confidence that you will make it. Number 2, love what you do. A large portion of your lives will be spent filled with work, so make sure that you love what you do and don't settle for anything less. Number 3, don't fear failure. Failure is your friend. Love it, embrace it. There will always be trials and experiments in life. As you grow in your personal and professional lives, continue to try new things. But the trick to it is, when you fail fast and learn faster. Number 3 and 4, build a resume that doesn't only tell the story of what you want to be, but a story of who you want to be. Be clear not only on what you want to accomplish, but why you want to accomplish it. Number 5, work hard. Work very, very hard. Strive to be the best at what you do. People may criticize you for the way you walk, for the way you talk, for the way you dress, but people can never criticize you on your job if you're good at it. So be very good at your job. Number 6, be humble. Some of the most powerful people that you'll come across, whether it's their titles, it's their wealth, it's their pedigree, whatever it may be, will impress you not because of what they have, but because of their humility. They will win you over because of their humility. So as you go on to your next chapter of your lives, learn and remember to be humble. Number 7, never stop learning. Have the hunger to learn. Despite your age, despite your job, despite your titles and where you live, remember to always have the hunger to learn. And in that, I think, comes down to the point earlier made around the difference between knowledge and wisdom. And I'll share a little anecdote. Someone that I very much sort of love and respect shared with me, he said, do you know the difference between wisdom and knowledge? And I said, well, they're sort of the same. If you have knowledge, you have wisdom. He said, no, actually you're wrong. I said, why? He said, knowledge is knowing that a tomato is a fruit. Wisdom is knowing not to put it in a fruit salad. So you have to be able to continue to strive and to learn, yeah? Number 8, trust your instinct. If it feels good, go for it. Number 9, as you embrace success in all its forms, Remember those who've helped you get here, and remember to give back. Number 10, most important, always remember to smile and to have fun. I wish you all the best with many more years of success and stories to share. Thank you.
Smile and we laugh. Stay here.